Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm actually here to kind of go over a new deck profile I'm going over. It's definitely still in construction, but with the new set 9 dropping, I figured we'd try to build something a little more interesting. So new set 9, all of you know, the new Bibidi that came out, and probably a lot of you have actually seen the new Buu deck. Bibidi Bobidi Boo, however you want to call it, it's a mono black deck. Runs really good. You know, you put out that 6-drop Boo, and then your opponent is pretty much not drawing anymore from card effects, their battle cards, anything along those lines. Runs with no hand. Pretty good deck. Requires a lot of key pieces, though, that unfortunately, even after 7 boxes for me of buying set 9, I still have yet to pull those all the pieces, which really it's just a combination of having enough of this lovely little 6-drop here and the 2-drop. So because of that, I decided, hey, let's try something different. Let me see if I can build something a little more interesting for a Buu deck that will come out that I could still run the black stuff to make it so that I have a no-hand deck, but at the same time, a deck that could still supplement itself without needing just a mono black deck. So with that being said, we're going into my particular Buu deck that I built using an older Majin Buu. This is actually from set 3. He's a blue Majin Buu. His auto, when it attacks leader card, you place top card of your deck under this card. If you have 2 more cards, you draw a card. And awaken 4 less, choose 2 energy, untap them. The awaken side, though, is kind of where this deck really helps the black. So auto, once per turn, when this card attacks, go and place top card of your deck under this card, draw a card. Its activate main, though, is you take 5 cards from under this card, you put them into your drop area, you untap it, it gets plus 5,000 power. This is not a once per turn, and basically it guarantees that whatever's underneath your leader card will go into your drop area, which is where the mono black stuff really is going to come in handy, because the mono black stuff wants stuff in the drop area to be able to be played, and that's kind of where we're going to go from there, is using this particular leader card to kind of help. So let's get into the rest of the deck. We're going to start with the mono black stuff, and then we're going to go over the rest of it that I believe will help supplement a mono black. So as you saw, the 6-drop. Now, mind you, I'd rather run 4 of these 6-drops. I'd rather run the full black deck, but unfortunately, I bought 7 boxes, and I've only pulled 1. So until my order comes in, I'm running 1 in this deck. I'd rather run 4 for obvious reasons. So obviously, there's going to be 4 in this deck, so I would run 4 of them. This is the 6-drop Buu that came out in set 9. Permanent. Your opponent cannot. This can't be removed by battle cards or your opponent's skills. It can be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills. And when this is tapped, your opponent can't use non-leader cards to add cards from the deck to their hand. Activate battle, tap 3. This card gains plus 10,000 power and triple strike. So ultimately, it could be a 30,000 power triple striker. And while it's sitting in rest mode, basically your opponent, if they use non-leader skills to try to add cards from their deck to their hand, it's not happening. So a lot of their super combos become obsolete. Everything that they're comboing or just trying to play and get cards, it doesn't happen. And this will usually come out by turn 3. You also want to run 4 because you want to see it in your drop area at some point or another. All the Buus, for the most part, other than the low stuff, so like the 4 and 5 drops and the 6-drop, you want in your drop area in one point or another so that you can get it out from the drop area using the smaller ones. So that's the first one. I run, as of now, I run 4 of the Majin Buu Virtuous Demon. So I run 4 of him. Just simple little support card. When you play this card, look at 7. Top 7 from your deck, choose 1 Majin Buu. On them, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So because I only have 1 of these, I run 4. Since I only have 1 Supreme Evil Majin Buu, I'm running 4 Virtuous Demon Majin Buus so that I can look for this, try to get in my hand faster so I can ultimately pitch it into my drop area. So that's why I run 4 of these. So that's just part of the support to try to get this guy basically in the drop area. Next one is 4 Capricious Onslaught. So it's just activate battle, choose a leader card or a battle card. It gets 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. Choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it under a Majin Buu card in your battle area. So it's a nice little kind of control-y card as well as a boost. I run 4 of those right now. ultimately what's going to happen is these are going to come out to replace for this particular Majin Buu, and probably another little bit of support for the other part of the deck. So right now that's why I run though, just to kind of, supplement the fact that I don't have 4 of these. Now, also, before I get to the rest of this deck, mind you guys, this is a 60-card deck, because when set 10 drops, the deck size is increasing to 60, so it's going to be a minimum 50 to 60 cards. So this deck is not obviously tournament legal until set 10 drops in, I believe, June. But for now, it works really well. There are stuff you can obviously drop, which is going to be out of this particular stack. You can just drop it and run a mono black with Bibidi as your leader card, and it's perfectly interchangeable. But because of that because set 10's dropping in June, I'm going to go ahead and kind of build some 15 to 60 card decks. My Demeager deck, which is my tournament deck, stays at 50 cards, but it is prepped for a 60 card run. Alright, so let's continue on. I run 4 of the Demonic Strain Majin Buus, which is just an activate main. Choose a Majin Buu in your battle area. Place this card under that. Place this card under it from your hand. If you have no cards in your hand, choose a Majin Buu in your battle area and switch it to active mode. So ultimately, it's, say, turn 6 or something, or you have enough energy. You swing with this, activate that, untap your Supreme. So basically, what's happening is you swing with Supreme Evil, which has, it already has triple strike and plus 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. You swung with it, you've tapped 3, activate the main, you do this, you untap your Supreme Evil, and swing again with another 30,000 triple strike. So that's where that's coming into play. It's a nice little support card to kind of just be really broke, kind of help get some hitters out. So the next 3 I'm showing you are kind of the cards to really get that 6-drop out, which is Unparalleled Absorption, Steadfast Absorption, Hybrid Absorption. Now, all of these cards have an activate main where it is you pick a card that is a Majin Buu that is ranged from 3 to 6. It says in between 3 to 6, but it includes 3 and 6, and you play it on top of this card in active mode. So basically, you have a double striker, a dual attack, and a critical. Say you swing with it, activate main, you untap that, and then you go ahead and put this 6-drop on top of it, and then you go from there. So that's the activate mains for all 3 of them. All 3 of them are going to do that. This one's just your double striker. This one's a dual attack, and this particular one has critical. So each one has a little bit of different hit power to it, 25, 15, and 25,000 power. As you can see, it's a 4, 5, and 5 drop. So ultimately, if you don't have the 6-drop in your drop area, you can get any of these guys out with the other's ability. Now, each one does have a different auto. And actually, these 2 here have a different permanent skill as well. So this one just has the dual attack and the activate main, which is get a 3 to 6 cost Majin Buu from your drop area played on top. This particular one's auto is when you play this card, you can't play Majin Buu for the duration of the turn. That's all the auto is, so you're not going to be able to play any more of the Steadfast Absorptions. No big deal, because you're usually going to play one of these 2 guys. I believe both these 2 guys so both of their permanents is they can't be played if you have 2 or less energy, and their autos are literally the exact same as Absorption Steadfast, so both of these guys have a permanent that if you have 2 or less energy, they're not going to be played. So the minimum turn you can play these 2 guys is on turn 3. Unless you're running a blue deck that also ramps energy like a Beerus deck. That's an interesting idea, but I didn't go with it. But it'll work. But that's kind of what you're doing. Other than that, their auto skill is the exact same as Steadfast Absorption. You can only play 1 of these per turn. So if you play Hybrid Absorption, you can't play it again in the same turn. Steadfast Absorption or Unparalleled Absorption, you can't play another one of any of those cards on the same turn. But ultimately, you're not really trying to do that. You're not trying to play like 2 of these in one turn. You're playing 1 of these to try to get this out. So that's where these particular 3 different cards are coming in. And I run 4 of each because you need to see these cards as much as possible in this particular deck. Ultimately, the mono black is all around the Supreme Evil. So that's kind of where you're going right now. Okay, so I run 4 of the Supreme Absorption, which has an Evolve 3, a Majin Buu. Most of this deck is a Majin Buu, so if you have the 1 drop out, you tap 3, you go ahead and evolve this out. And this has an auto. When it evolves, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignore a barrier, and place it under this card. So nice board control state that I can I can evolve into very quickly, because it doesn't specify which particular Buu. So if you have a 1 drop Virtuous Demon out, tap 3, evolve, and you can start controlling your opponent's board state pretty quick. It's nice considering I've noticed this deck doesn't have a lot of counter plays, counter attacks, and whatnot. So the more board control you have, the better the better working you'll be able to do. Next, I run 3 Godly Aptitude Super Saiyan God Son Goku. It's another board control. So, activate main, tap 1, place this card from your hand in your drop area. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 2 or less and KO it. And then auto, when you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to their owner's warp. And it's a double striker for 4. So, nice board control, 2 different ways. So, if I want to get you early, I can tap 1 and send this from my hand to my warp. If it's late game, I can deal with you again as well when I play it. So, nice board control. Again, because there's not a lot of counterattacks in here, I need board control, which is exactly what goes into my next one, which is 4 of the Kakarot, the one and only, excuse me. This was the promo that came in each one of the boxes. As you can see, I have a lot of them, because like I said, I bought 7 boxes. I actually have 3 of these sitting in my sideboard for my Demigra deck, because they really are good board control, and because Demigras only have problems with Hachiak, throw this out there, I can deal with Hachiak. So this one's in Buu for that board control. It has blocker, revenge, barrier, and then activate main. Basically, you're gonna get this out on. You can get this out on turn 2. Activate main. You take 4 of your cards in your drop area, send them to your warp for 2 energy. So on turn 2, I can get a blocker with revenge out, and I can deal with a lot of your early game stuff, so that I don't have to worry about basically anything coming and hitting me. That can deal with like early baby. That can deal with even late or mid game baby, because I can get this out at any point after turn 2. As long as it's after turn 2, it's good. And then turn 3, hit the Majin Buu out. So, ultimate board control. Because baby's usually popping on turns 2, 3, or 4, this helps a lot. This will also help against Hachiak, which is a good late game or mid game range. It'll help against Son Gohan and Piccolo, so blue-greens. It'll help against any red-yellows, so, coming into the baby decks and your heartfelt plea decks, that's where this is going to come into play, and you'll get rid of like heartfelt plea with no issues. And last is another card to again help support the Majin Buu, which is the Yulkon Light Devourer. Basically, what's going to happen is I run 4 of them. Permanent. This card gets 5,000 power for each card under it, so it comes out as a 10,000. On the first turn you play it, when you swing, you're going to put 2 cards underneath this card. So it's going to be 20,000. The secondary, that's the first auto trigger, so when it attacks, you put 2 cards underneath it. So you'll be able to do that twice before its second auto is going to happen, which is at the beginning of your main phase. If you have 4 cards underneath this, it goes to your drop area. So ultimately, I want to be able to put 4 cards underneath it, swing at you at least twice, so it'll be a 20,000 and then a 30,000 on turn 2 coming out. So it's a pretty nice little card, and it also makes sure I can get stuff into my drop area. So that's the black side of this deck. As you can tell, it is centered solely around the 6-drop Supreme Evil. I mean, that is literally what the new set 9 black stuff is for, is to center solely around this, as well as come over and try to run off of Bibidi and his Awakened side and everything. So the no cards in hand is really where it comes into play. The no cards in hand are for the 3 Majin Buus that are coming out, the 4-drop, 5, and 5-drop, the absorptions, because you cannot have a card in hand when you activate their mains to get him out. So that's where the no cards in hand kind of comes into play. I noticed, so when I play tested, if you didn't get this guy out, you were really screwed. So I wanted to, because I obviously don't have 4 of these, I wanted to run a different support system, which is what we're going to go into next, which is the big side of the support system and why I'm running this particular Buu. So first I am running 4 Majin Defire South Supreme Kais. Has critical, and his auto is when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, 3 or less, and return it to their hand. Another board control. The reason I run 4 of these, though, is honestly because of this guy right here. It is Power Absorbing Majin Buu. So I tap 2 blue, 2 colorless. I evolve from a South Supreme Kai. Then I can activate main once per turn. I take the South Supreme Kai, I put in my drop area. I take all of his abilities and I basically put it on him. So he becomes critical, and then I trigger this auto using him. So when he's attacking, his auto is then going to trigger. So I get to take that both out. That is really why I'm running South Supreme Kai, is to get into Power Absorbing Majin Buu, and then I can go from there. Again, another board control, and as you can see, 25,000 dual attack and critical. So that comes out really nice. It's going to be a nice hitter, and it only costs 4. So ultimately, if I'm not getting the Supreme Evil out on turn 3, I'm going to my backup of the blue side, which is what this deck is coming into play. So next, I run 3 of the Majin Buu, the Intensifying Evil, which it's really not a bad card, 19,000 power. But what it is it has a permanent, which is if this card would be moved from your battle area by your opponent's skill, you may choose 2 cards from your hand, place them in your drop area instead. Again, we're going back to the Supreme Evil a lot. That's what a lot of this blue is going to be supporting, is trying to get, it's going to be a backup plan to Supreme Evil, but at the same time still help to get the Supreme Evil out. His auto is when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 4 or less, place at the bottom of the owner's deck. Activate main, 1 blue, 1 energy, so 2 total energy. If your leader card's a Majin card, which this is a Majin card on its awakened side, not on the front side, I believe. Oh no, this one is. Never mind, excuse me. I'm thinking of Bibidi. So, Bibidi is not a Majin on the front. On awakened side, he is a Majin. So, this card will work in Bibidi, but obviously, I just found better to use Majin Buu himself. And if you have 3 or more energy, choose a Majin Buu card with energy of 4 from your energy area. Excuse me. So you're going to get a 4-drop Majin Buu from your energy, and you're going to play it. The reason that is key is because of Prodigious Majin Buu. I run 3 in this particular deck. So 3 Majin Buus. You're going to play this from your energy. It's going to come out. 4-2. Auto, when you play this card from your energy area, choose a battle card in your drop area, place it under this card. Activate once per turn. If there's a Gotenks under this card, you can create a Majin token. I have no Gotenks in this deck, so I'm not really worried about putting a Gotenks underneath this card when I play it. I'm really just going for its activate main, which takes 4 energy, 3 of which has to be blue. And if your leader card's a Majin, you can choose a 7-drop Majin Buu in your energy and play it, which leads to my one of, which is the Ultimate Evil Majin Buu. So this one has doesn't lead to that one. I can play that one, but I'm not going to actually do that. The 4-drop leads to the 7-drop, which is the Ultimate Absorption Majin Buu. I run 4 of, mainly because I want some in my energy. And if I just happen to be able to play a hard cast at some point, that'd be kind of nice, but I doubt I'll ever do that. He has Triple Strike. Auto, when it's played from energy, choose a battle card in your drop area and place under this card. Choose one of your blue energy, switch it to active mode. And then auto once per turn, when this card attacks, if there's a Son Gohan Adolescence under this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place that under this card. So again, it's not really for their autos, when to put something underneath them, to get them another ability. It's really just the extra support that if I cannot get Supreme Evil out, that's what this run is for. I mean, considering there's a 25,000 triple strike, there's a 25,000 or 20,000 here with deflect, and then another 19,000 here. So each one's pretty easy to get out. Only takes 2 energy total for this one to come to here, 4 energy to go to here, and then I got a pretty good run, just in case I can't get up to my Supreme Evil. So like I said, this blue side is really just a backup plan to the black, and that's the reason I'm running this particular leader. Now we're going to get to the final, which is the Ultimate Evil Supreme Majin Buu. I run a 1 of because I just have 1, and it's really not that bad to run 1 of because, like I said, this is a backup plan to Supreme Evil. My ultimate goal is to do Supreme Evil's run and to get my mono black out, not to have a hand, and to basically beat you down with Supreme Evil. Now this particular one has an EX Evolve of tap 1 blue, plays 2 cards from your hand in the drop area, and a Majin Buu with an energy cost of 5 or more. There's the Majin Buu of 5 or more. And guess what else? There's a Majin Buu of 5 or more. And there's a Majin Buu of 5 or more. So as long as I have 1 blue energy, if I can get these suckers out and I'm realizing I'm not emptying out my hand fast enough, or I'm not getting Supreme Evil into my drop area, cool, I have a blue energy, let me tap it, I'll just go ahead and EX Evolve real quick and pitch some more cards into my drop area and not have an issue. This guy also has Triple Strike, and when it evolves, when a card evolves into this card, switch it to active mode, and it gains 30,000 power for the duration of the turn. So ultimately what's happening with this is, say I get Hybrid Absorption out. Alright, so I've played him however I played him, whether that's going from my 4-drop, Steadfast Absorption, going from my 1-drop. So go 1-drop to the 4-drop to the 5-drop, no big deal, I can get up to it. And I notice I have yet to get this into the drop area at that point. I go ahead and say, cool, I'm going to tap 1 blue, EX Evolve, but I've swung already for this as well. So what happens is I play this card, I swing with whatever Buu I have on the field. It could be this one, or it can be Unparalleled Absorption, which is a double striker, or I can swing with my critical. So I swing with it, say, alright, you've taken 25,000 crit, I'm going to tap 1 blue, I'm going to go ahead and EX Evolve. It's going to be up in active mode, and now I'm going to swing at you for 60,000 in Triple Strike. That's a turn 2, possibly turn 3 play. Or, excuse me, that's a turn 3 play. So, turn 3 play, I'm hitting you for 25,000 in critical. More than likely making him bigger so that I can get some more cards in my drop area. EX Evolving into him, tapping 1 blue, hitting you for 60,000 Triple Strike. So, on turn 3, I'm hitting you for at least 4 life. So that's pretty much it. As you can tell, this is a blue-black deck. It is centered mostly around Supreme Evil. That is what this deck is going to be centered around. I run this Majin Buu because ultimately, on his Awakened side, activating that main multiple times, I can switch him to active, give him plus 5,000 power, get more cards in the drop area to ultimately get to him. So, to me, that seems like a good support system. If you don't agree, leave it in the comments. Let me know if there's something a little bit different that you could think of. Maybe that idea of running the energy run versus the support of the Majin Buus would be better. Let me know. Leave it in the comments, and we'll come back to another video later. Probably going to go over a new Beerus deck, actually, since the new Beerus deck is coming in play.